So I felt like making a philosophical video, amateur philosophy mind you, and I figured that it might be more interesting for you to watch gameplay footage rather than just stare at my mug all the time. On my channel I obviously talk a lot about weapons, and it's one of those things that unfortunately have a negative reputation among the general population. A lot of people, when they hear weapon, think of something like this. So basically just rampage, just mindless violence, mowing down living beings left and right and just spilling blood everywhere, things like that. A lot of people associate weapons with terms like violence or attack or death or whatever, injury, things of that nature, murder. But if there's one thing that I've learned from my studies in social anthropology, it is that as human beings, we don't really perceive the world as it is, we perceive the world as we are. It matters a lot what our personal experiences are, our personality traits, what we've seen and learned and what we believe. And based on that, our associations can be very, very skewed in either direction. Just to give you an example, while some people have the associations that I already mentioned, personally I have very different associations with weapons. When I hear weapon, I'm basically thinking defense, collecting, art, responsibility. I do also associate them with the word danger, but I don't see it that negatively because it's just the danger that you can easily avoid if you pay attention to what you're doing, if you know how to handle these objects right, if you are of sound mind and have the knowledge and skills that it takes to use them safely. I also associate words like safety and security with weapons, and even justice. Because to me, it is just for a law-abiding citizen who has never done anyone else harm to use whatever means necessary to defend themselves against an assault, an unprovoked attack by someone else who doesn't have the same moral standards. And I also associate weapons with freedom. Not only the freedom to own whatever the heck you want, provided that you don't use it to do harm, but also the freedom that weapons can defend. If someone decided to kidnap or oppress or even outright enslave you, and this someone can also be an institution by the way, firearms can give you a fighting chance to resist against these things. And it's not a guarantee. Nothing in life ever is a guarantee. No weapon is a magical device that solves all problems. I'm not saying that. But it can give you options and possibilities that you don't otherwise have, and it can be a great equalizer against someone who is intent on doing you harm that would otherwise overpower you. And keep in mind, by weapon I actually mean that in the more conventional way, handheld personal weapons. I don't mean things like nuclear warheads or chemical weapons or things like that. It's not what I mean when I say weapons. Those things to me are more devices of mass destruction. That's not the same thing. And it doesn't have the same connotation or meaning or purpose to me. So yeah, at the end of the day, it really depends on who you are and how you think, how you interpret certain things. If someone is vehemently opposed to or scared of an item, that actually tells me more about them than about the item. Like I said, we are not 100% objective beings. We filter everything through our personality and our experiences. And of course, I am no exception to that, so don't take my word for it. Think about it for yourself, do your own research, don't just rely on someone else's opinion. Form your own, but make sure you form it well. Do your research, don't just jump to conclusions. That's not going to lead you anywhere but to ignorance and prejudice. And we already have more than enough of that in the world.